So someone wrote in a question, actually an essay, but yeah, it was very good with some very good questions in here. So I thought I would answer that in a BBC. So he started out saying, that he was observing himself on the subway, being attracted to somebody, and then remembering that that person was empty of inherent existence, and, balancing his mind out again. And then he said, why is it so easy for us to go along with attachment when it is so clearly based on a faulty assumption of inherent existence? Okay, why? Because we've been grasping at inherent existence since beginningless time. It's all we've known. So of course it comes up all the time, and we just, it gives birth to attachment, which we've been very familiar with since beginningless time. So attachment comes up too. This is all part of the nature of samsara. I'm not sure if this is universal amongst humans, but for me, I go along with attachment for as long as I do because of pervasive dukkha. Okay, so this is what he's calling pervasive dukkha. I'm going to actually give a different, correct that, but this is what he's calling it, because there's kind of two parts to the answer. Based on my limited understanding of this type of dukkha, is that it's unease that we feel constantly that things are not just quite right. I experience it as a low-level hum of discontent that is subtle but is always there. And when I get hit with that high of attachment, it feels like it blocks out the low-level hum of pervasive dukkha. It's like attachment is blasting rock music really loud so that the low-level hum of pervasive dukkha becomes imperceivable. So let me finish the next thing too. So it hit me like a flash of lightning. Okay, that's why I keep falling for attachment again and again. So upon reflecting on the fact that as long as we take rebirth, we can't escape the low-level hum of pervasive dukkha, one should find a way to be at peace with it. Are there any techniques you could provide me that would help me in just resting with that low-level hum? Okay, so first of all, there's many things to say in response here. First of all, what he's that low-level hum of discontent that I think we're all quite familiar with, that is not what we call the pervasive dukkha of conditioning. The pervasive dukkha of conditioning is just the fact that we have a body and mind under the control of afflictions and karma. That feeling of low-level discontent is a result of the second kind of dukkha of change, the fact that you have some happiness and it goes down and it becomes some kind of uncomfortable feeling. Okay, so the actual painful feeling, which is that low-level hum, is actually the dukkha of pain, but it's arising because of the dukkha of change, because you have all your hopes in this samsaric thing that is really going to do it for you and make you happy, and then it falls apart, or you do it long enough and it becomes actual the dukkha of pain, okay? So that's what he's talking about. Yeah, the pervasive dukkha of samsara is something else. Now, to get to the issue of what he talked about, when he said to find a way to be at peace with that feeling, I don't think we should ever be at peace with that feeling. That feeling is what is going to propel renunciation and the aspiration to get out of samsara. If we just say, oh, this feeling of constant discontent, that's what it is, so I'm just going to go along with it and it's no big deal and make the best, then we're not going to get out of cyclic existence. Okay, so we have to realize that yes, this is the nature of cyclic existence, this low-level hum of discontent, and want to get out of it, not want to make peace with it so that we can just somehow ignore it, although it's influencing our whole life. Okay, then the question becomes, so the third part, okay, so we feel this low-level discontent, then what do we do about it? Okay, so first of all, of course, we generate the aspiration to be free of samsara. Yeah, we want to get out. And because we realize that no matter how wonderful samsara is, we're always going to come back to that nothing is ever good enough, nothing ever cuts the grade, nothing is ever going to satisfy us, that there's no lasting peace in samsara. Okay? So to use that to further our spiritual aspirations. Then the question is how not to get depressed, which I think is maybe what his real question is how do you not get depressed when there's this constant feeling of dissatisfaction? And here's where I think the thought training practice is so useful and so marvelous, because the thought training practice says, look at the situation in a different way, okay? And use one of the thought training techniques to switch the situation. So, for example, with this one, the taking and giving meditation is excellent. Yeah, you feel a low level of discontent. What do? You say, as long as I'm experiencing this, may all the discontent of all sentient beings ripen upon me, and may I give them all my happiness. And you do the taking and giving meditation. Okay? Or you say, that's one technique. One other technique is, well, this is the nature of samsara. This is also the experience of all other sentient beings. This isn't just my experience. Everybody, all the human beings around, all the bugs, everybody has this low level of discontent, unless they're experiencing outright suffering, in which case that masks the low-level discontent. But, we'd rather have the low-level discontent than the outright suffering. So this is the situation of all sentient beings. Instead of focusing on my discontent, think of everybody's discontent and have compassion for everybody, especially all the people who don't know anything about Dharma, who feel this discontent and are still striving somehow to eke some satisfaction and everlasting happiness out of samsara, like trying to get oil out of sand. It's not going to work. And so people keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, trying to, fulfill, get all the love they want, all the praise and approval they want, the good reputation they want, all the sense experiences they want, all the fame they want. And everybody's running around in society like, chickens with their heads cut off, trying to find something that's impossible. And what kind of suffering is that? They run around all lifetime for that, and then they die, and their human rebirth has gone by, and with, very little, if any, accumulation of good karma. Yeah, and isn't that a tragedy? And isn't that really sad? And so focusing on the situation of other beings, and then coming back to, it's the same situation I'm in, but I have the incredible fortune of having met the Dharma and having met teachers and having a situation to practice in. Yeah. So I have this amazing fortune, and all these other beings, are lacking that. And so I want to really practice hard and develop my compassion and do what I can to be a benefit to these beings. Yeah. And somehow teach them about karma so that they can, create some good karma during their life. Teach them about compassion, teach them about equanimity, and to do that, then I have to develop these qualities in myself, And so you change your focus from your own feeling of low grade dissatisfaction to, what's the situation of sentient beings? And you develop compassion. And then it's very easy to go into the taking and giving, the Tonglen meditation after that. Okay, so the whole key to this is switching who we're focused on, because as long as we're focused on me and I have this low grade, and then we're going to get really depressed. Yeah, but as soon as we realize, wow, this is universal, and can I extend some compassion to others who are experiencing this too, then there's no space in our mind to get depressed and discouraged. There's just no space because there's a lot of work to do to benefit sentient beings. Okay, then there's one, he had a PS. I also noticed why ethical conduct comes first in the training. Because personally, for me, when I become aware of that low-level hum of dissatisfaction, I feel this need to get away from it. Sometimes the way we get away from it doesn't harm others, but quite often it does. Yeah? What do? We go out drinking and drugging. We sleep around. We go, take something from a department store that isn't ours. We go to a sports game and, compete with another team and develop anger and hatred towards the other team or whatever it is. So he says, I think being mindful of the 10 non-virtuous actions act as a reminder to keep our ethical conduct. This is especially useful when that urge to escape from the pervasive dissatisfaction is so strong. Yeah, so that is really spot on. Instead of medicating our dissatisfaction, our discontent with things that aren't really going to solve the problem, to realize that if we keep good ethical conduct, it will actually improve our mood. Because, why one of the sources of that discontent can come from not feeling good about ourselves because of actions that we've done that have been cruel or mean to others, or that have, harmed ourselves or others in some way. And so he's really spot on there about the value of keeping ethical conduct as an antidote to dissatisfaction, and as a way to not increase the feeling of dissatisfaction, the way when we act in an unethical way that does. Yeah. Okay. Does all this make sense to people? Yeah. So I think this is a very good question, because this is what's going on in wealthy countries nowadays. People have the material wealth, yeah, but something still isn't quite right, and they don't know what it is. Yeah, and the secret is in our own psyche, our own mind, and to understand that. But without meeting the Dharma, it's hard to have the tools to be able to know how to look at our own mind and how to remedy this situation. Okay. And then, of course, there's lots of praise in here too for the Abbey, but I won't read that. No, but we get many, many emails from people who really thank us for all the podcasts and teachings and things we put online. Yeah, so may this be one of them.